Hello and welcome. We just got finished reading Corn Mother, which is personally my favorite of the creation myths so far. The Allmaker, Klorskaba, which, again, I hope I'm not butchering any of this. I'm really trying to get ahead of schedule with all this stuff. It's taking a lot out of me. I promise I will do a lot of research next time on how to pronounce everything. But for the most part, Indian tribes and names and stuff are pretty straightforward on how they're pronounced, and I appreciate that. But he was called Uncle, or he's the Allmaker, and he creates things. And one day, foam from the sea was quickened and warmed by the sun. It was the motion of the wind, the moistness of water, and the sun's warmth which gave him life. Warmth above all. I like how you have these three things. You have motion from the wind, so essentially spirit, kind of like in that the Rabbit Boy, right? Motion, the animation of something that didn't originally have the ability to animate itself. Then you have the ocean, something broad, or I guess it says the moistness, right? The moistness of the water is the thing that is important to the creation, and the sun's warmth, which gave him life. So even though it has motion and it has fluidity to it, the thing that makes it live is the warmth. Without the warmth of the sun, it doesn't live, even with the animation, the motion. And I think that is a really, really cool way of describing the creation of something. And again, it kind of goes back to this concept of dead things. They cannot move, they dry out, and they are not warm. So the three things necessary for life is motion, moistness or water, and then warmth. So I really like that. And he called Kloskorba uncle, brother of my mother. And it's like there are no other people that exist at this time. So to reference a mother, something that doesn't exist yet, quite odd. But we're going to go with it. But anyways, these two beings create essentially all things that exist on the earth. They go about making everything, which is an interesting concept. It makes me think in the Bible how it says let. It implies that there's not just God, but God and something else, which is supposed to be Jesus Christ, that creates everything, right? So you have here two living men of a sort who go about the earth creating everything. And then you have, from all of these things that are being created, a beautiful girl. And she's born from the wonderful earth plant, and of the dew, and of warmth. So for her, the earth plant, right? What is earth plants? They grow. They have natural motion. They have life cycles. So you have, again, growth, motion, dew, water, and warmth. So even though she comes from something else, she still has the same animating factors to her creation. And it's also interesting that in Uncle, the Allmaker, and the son, the young man, the Allmaker and the young man, they don't create the woman. The son is thanked for creating the woman. And her purpose isn't to create. Her purpose is love, to give strength, to nourish, and provide for men and animals. So she's essentially all of the things necessary for the animation and living to have purpose and comfort, which is really cool because love we would consider a necessary thing for people. You know, they say that if babies don't get enough affection, they actually just die. So they need love. They need nourishment. And the woman is love and nourishment. But she provides love and nourishment not just to another human being, but to the animals themselves. She's like the thing that keeps all living beings moving. She's the strength giver. She provides all things with what they need to sustain themselves so they can fulfill their purpose. Excellent, excellent origin story. That is incredible. And I like, they think the great mystery above. Well, it's very interesting to see that in nearly all of these stories so far, there is an entity above all other entities that is thanked for providing all things, even though in this story, the Allmaker and the young man are the ones creating things on the earth. But it's like there's an origin point before the things that they even have the ability to enact and create. And that is the thing that requires all praise. But they call it the great mystery above, which makes me think of the altar to the unknown God, right? It's like we don't know who this is. We know that it is, though, the great mystery. So they're waiting for the answer on who the great mystery is, but they know that it requires reverence. Big fan, like that. So what they get is that now the great nephew and first mother get married, and great uncle leaves, so that nephew and mother may create essentially without imposition upon them. They become their own beings, not requiring someone above them to teach them, unless he is needed, in which case he can come back and he can provide knowledge. Really cool. Really like that. That is essentially the family structure. You have to leave. You become your own family unit, and you essentially leave your parents, the things above you, that provide wisdom so that you know how to act. Now it is your turn to become the creator of a family and to become the knowledge giver. But if you should find yourself lacking knowledge, you can still go back to those who have lived longer and know more than you and ask them for help. And it also says that great uncle will return sometime when he is needed. So there are still times when the one who is wiser, or like the adult, the parent, the one who's older, will come back to you to provide you with knowledge that you might need. And I also think that is an incredible origin story. Just saying, if I was going to be born into a tribe, this origin story so far would be the one that I'd want to be born into. But now you have the hard part about having a tribe and about creating people and sustaining people. And that is, they start hunting, and the game becomes more skittish around them. And aside from the game becoming more skittish around them, it becomes less. They're hunting it to extinction. They're hunting it to extinction, for example. So they're running out of food. And it's like, well, what do? We're hungry. We're not able to eat enough because the animals continue to leave. And First Mother, being the lover, cries and wants to provide because she's the nourisher. She's the one who provides strength. So what must happen is she must die. It's the mother's sacrifice that allows for the children, the nation, the continuation of humanity to occur and to grow. And so she asks to be killed, and then it sounds absolutely horrible, but she's like, you must drag my body across the ground until there's nothing left but bones. And then you have to gather the bones and leave them there in a pile or, spread out. It doesn't really quite specify what is done with the bones. Just take my bones, gather them up, and bury them in the middle of this clearing. Yeah, so, you bury them in. And anybody who knows, you can provide nourishment to soil with blood. And bones are used in like bone broth, things like that. They are something else that has the ability to give life. So by burying the bones and leaving the blood, they are essentially fertilizing the soil in essence. So her body that came out of the earth is also the thing that will bring forth nourishment, allowing her not only to bring humans into the world, but allow her to sustain them so that they can continue the cycle of continuing to bring humans into the world. Such a cool concept. I'm loving it. So her flesh grows into corn, and it's also important to wait 7 moons and then come back, a full week, right? 7 days. 7, always an important number in stories. And typically what I've noticed is that for tribes, the sun and the moon are very important aspects. So 7 moons. You have to wait 7 moons. Take my bones. Yeah, wait 7 moons and then come back, and you will find my flesh there. And her flesh turns into corn, and corn is sweet. So her love is represented inside of the corn itself by being sweet like she was sweet. And not only that, it reproduces. So she's still continuing the cycle of motherhood, which is of reproduction. But she does it permanently. She is the first woman, the first life giver. And then from being the first life giver, she remains the perpetual life giver by becoming corn, by becoming the thing that nourishes all other things, the strength giver. Excellent writing. And aside from the corn, she turns into tobacco, pleasure, right? Love. And that's even what it says. Take good care of her. Remember, he told the people, this is the great uncle, and take good care of first mother's flesh, because it is her goodness becomes substance. Take good care of her breath, because it is her love turned into smoke. Remember her and think of her whenever you eat, whenever you smoke the sacred plant, because she has given her life so that you might live. Yet she is not dead, she lives. In undying love, she renews herself again and again. So while it's a really great origin story, it's also just an excellent representation of the importance of a woman, and especially a mother. They call her the Great Mother. It's like she's not dead, she lives. In undying love, she renews herself again and again, and with her renewal, she strengthens you. Perfect. Everything from the beginning comes back all the way to the ending. And I did skip that whenever Mother asks to be killed, great nephew goes to great uncle to verify if fulfilling her wish is the correct thing, and he confirms that it is the correct thing, which is a very hard thing to do. It's like, my wife wants me to kill her, and she thinks it'll help everybody. Yes, you have to kill your wife. Okay. That would be me. I would struggle. And he did struggle. It was very nice. So yeah, wow. That is a great story. Favorite so far. Hopefully we get some more bangers like that. Can't wait to read more. Anyways, thank you for joining. That is what I got out of the story. What did you get out of the story? Let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and check out one of these other videos right here after you hit the notification bell if I forgot to say that. I don't know. Please, yeah, check out one of these. Maybe listen to another Native American story or, I don't know. I got a lot of other options if Native American stuff isn't quite your thing. You can just check it out. Just, yeah. Check it out.